Hello and welcome to this video. If you're an experienced turntable owner, and you are very likely familiar with the variety of paper and plastic alignment protractors and gauges, well, are they any good? Well, they're better than nothing, and they can get you in the general ballpark regarding overhang, alignment, and I'm not even referring to anti-skating yet. But if you want improved accuracy and peace of mind and knowing that your turntable is properly set up, then you should watch this video. I usually try to avoid thinking about mounting cartridges and setting up my turntables. I've kind of equated it to like going to the dentist. I mean, you got to make sure everything is okay, but it's among my least favorite hi-fi things to do. I mean, I wish my dental hygienist could set up a turntable. That would be amazing. But mounting cartridges has always been something I've done myself. Although I've never claimed to be an expert, my belief is that my hi-fi dealer likely couldn't do it any better than me if they were using the same tools. From my experience, properly setting up a turntable is kind of a dark, mysterious art with a multitude of opinions and no universal agreement on best practices. Because the vast majority of turntables have pivoting tone arms, the diamond stylus of the phono cartridge at the end of the tone arm moves across the surface of the record in an arc-like path. And that means it only spends a very brief periods of its journey properly oriented with the sides of the ultra-narrow groove in the record. Most of the time, it's not perfectly aligned with the groove. The key to properly aligning the cartridge is to minimize the compromises in order to ensure that any potential distortion is virtually inaudible. Remember, everything you do with analog music recording and playback has trade-offs and compromises. There's no free lunch, as they say. I'm not making this video for novice beginners. I'm starting out by assuming that you, the viewer, has some experience doing this before and are generally familiar with most of the principles I will be discussing and demonstrating. Some of you may be familiar with Wally tools. I've seen the videos on YouTube, watched the presentations at audio shows, and the Wally Tools YouTube channel features numerous videos about vinyl playback theory and how-to tutorials. But I've not seen a video made by an enthusiast learning how to use Wally tools at home with his own turntable. And I contacted JR at Wally Tools and proposed making a video of me using some Wally tools to set up some of my turntables. And JR said he thought it was an excellent idea and he would be happy to help me out. So in this video, I will show you how I got on with a couple of the Wally Tools products. Now, I'm not going to show each step in extreme detail, but rather demonstrate the basics and describe my experience with their turntable setup tools. So the question is, do Wally tools make the process easier, more precise, and with less mental and, yes, physical stress and aggravation? We'll see. What JR sent me was the Wally Tractor and the Wally Skater. He said these are the two best tools to start with. Now, this demo is not going to show you my very first time using the Wally tools, as I really wanted to familiarize myself with them and their use prior to shooting this video. Here's a little background on Wally tools. Wally Malowitz, the engineer and inventor, launched WAM engineering and the Wally tool system in the 1990s. And through in-depth study, his goal was to improve vinyl playback with more precise instruments that turntable enthusiasts could use. The business remained small, however, as Wally had difficulty producing enough units to satisfy demand for his products. And then Wally passed away in 2018. And then in 2019, J.R. Boyclair and Wally's son relaunched WAM Engineering with the aim to improve upon Wally's designs and develop new turntable setup tools and to get them into the hands of more vinyl devotees. I remember watching JR give his product pitch a couple of years ago at the Florida Audio Expo, and what really struck me was how passionate he is about proper cartridge alignment. He really takes it to the next level like no one I've ever seen before. He's obsessed with things like azimuth and stylus rake angle and zenith and vertical tracking angle and anti-skating. Does anyone on earth know more about the subject than him? I seriously doubt it. Again, I'm going to assume that you own a turntable with a cartridge that's already mounted. Now, to get started, my advice is to work on your turntable on a flat, level surface in a well-lit room. I also strongly suggest that you elevate the turntable closer to eye level, as close as possible, because you'll have a much easier time lining things up that way. And I'm using a big old Toshiba DVD player because it's just large enough to accommodate my Lin Sondek LP12, and it's a stable platform. Sorry for this interruption, but according to my YouTube stats, currently 90% of individuals who watch my videos are not subscribers. So I take from that YouTube is not showing subscribers my new episodes. So I suggest that if you enjoy my kind of content, please subscribe and enable notifications. So when I put up a new one, you'll know about it. Thanks. Back to the video. For cartridge overhang and alignment, there is the Wally Tractor. It is a shiny silver LP-sized disc with a plethora of markings and text imprinted and engraved upon it. You also get a pivot to spindle ruler that will help you determine the effective length of your tone arm if you're not aware of it already, and the little cylinder piece goes over the platter's spindle. Also included is the Wally 10 times magnifying loop that you use to get a clear view of the cartridge's cantilever while you are aligning it. For determining the inherent torque of your tone arm and to properly set its anti-skating force, we have the Wally Skater, which is a bit more involved with several parts included. It's made from clear acrylic that appears to be manufactured with a high level of precision. There's the base and the other parts that attach to it. And like the Wally Tractor, there are markings and text imprinted upon it. After positioning the Lin LP12 on the DVD player platform, I made sure it was level by slipping a few business cards under the feet of the Toshiba. Because this is a sprung suspended turntable, I needed to take measures to stop the platter from wobbling and rotating. So I used a couple of folded microfiber cloths under the heavy platter, which did the trick. The Wally Tractor is divided into two sections, the newer record collection and the older record collection halves. I use the older side. You can read the instructions to see what that means. Etched on the surface of the Wally Tractor are a multitude of parallel arcs. Each set corresponds with the tone arm length number in millimeters. Each etched groove precisely traces the path of the stylus as it travels from the edge of the disc to the center. If you're not aware, the three most common overhang alignments are Bearwald, Lofgren, and Stevenson. And rather than try to explain what JR says of the pros and cons of each one here, I'll just say that the Wally Tractor only includes the Bearwald and Lofgren guides. And JR actually prefers Lofgren, so I'm following his advice and will use the etched groove on the left. Setting the cartridge overhang involves moving the slightly loosened cartridge forward or backward in the head shell in order to get the stylus to precisely follow the length of the groove arc on the Wally Tractor, from the edge to near the center. And like me, you'll definitely need to repeat the process a few times to get it just right. All right, I think I got the overhang set right now. Goes right into the groove there on both ends. Once you get the overhang part done, you use the other markings on the Wally Tractor to align the cartridge. And using the Wally magnifying loop and a flashlight, you must get the cantilever and the three lines to perfectly line up and appear parallel. And you do that by carefully twisting the cartridge in the desired direction. And you use the loop to get a good view to see what's doing. Once again, it required a few adjustments from me to get it right. And when you're satisfied that it's all good, carefully tighten the head shell screws. Traditionally, the anti-skating or bias has been pretty easy to set. You match the anti-skating setting to the vertical tracking force that the manufacturer of the cartridge suggests. Very simple, right? Does this one-size-fits-all approach take into consideration the enormous variations in tone arms over the past 60 years? There are also lots of different opinions and methods. On side 1, there's a blank grooveless section in the middle of the record where you place your stylus. And if the tone arm quickly drifts towards the middle or the outer edge of the record, the anti-skating is not set correctly. So I lower the tone arm onto the record surface, and I turn the anti-skating dial in both directions until the stylus stops drifting and remains near the middle of the blank area for a few seconds or so. And some individuals question if anti-skating compensation even matters at all. The Wally skater takes an entirely different approach. It measures the inherent or built-in torque force of the tone arm. That's caused by the spring or bearings and/or the tone arm wires. After setting the tone arm's anti-skating adjustment to 0, I put together the Wally skater apparatus. I lined up its base with the tone arm pivot point and taped it down to the platter. With the arm in the up position, I attached the loop of the yellow thread to the finger lift of the head shell, and then I completed the necessary steps to determine how much inherent torque the tone arm has when the anti-skating is set to 0. All the steps are thoroughly covered in the printed instructions. And if you're interested in reading them, they are available on the Wally Tractor's website to download. The final anti-skating setting on the Lin was around 1.8, a bit lower than the recommended 2.0. And on the Riga, the corrected anti-skating was set to just above 1, perhaps 1.2, not the 2.0 grams that the VTF was set at. An interesting result, and leads me to speculate that each turntable is different, and just using boilerplate settings is not always best. And you may be asking now, can I hear the difference or improvement in record playback with my turntable after using the Wally tools? Well, as you can imagine, it's not really possible to perform a direct before and after A/B comparison. But I do believe that I notice improved clarity on my records after the Wally tools procedures. Can your record still sound good using conventional methods? Sure, but using the Wally tools actually provides you with the means to know with confidence that your cartridge and tone arm are set up and properly optimized. What really impressed me most was how thorough the Wally tool systems are. From what I can see, they have all the bases covered when it comes to the relationship between cartridge, stylus, and the groove of a vinyl record. If you want to get even closer to perfection, you can look at the other more advanced Wally tools and services. And that can help you with getting the azimuth and zenith and rake angle correctly set. Wally tools are not mass-produced in Asia, but are made in Sonoma County, California, USA. And how much do they cost? Well, the Wally Tractor Kit is priced at $395, and the Wally Skater is $260, and they're sold direct in North America and can be purchased in the UK and Australia through some local distributors. Their details are on the Wally Tools website. Now, for some, that may seem a little steep, but from what I experienced, Wally Tools are offering and delivering high-quality, unique products and services. You can consider it as an investment in your present and future turntables, cartridges, and your record collection, which are considerably greater expenditures. Now, the kicker value proposition is that you also received unmatched, unlimited customer support from J.R. Boyclair himself. And if you have any questions or concerns about Wally tools or vinyl playback, you can email, text, or even phone him directly, and he will enthusiastically take the time to help you out. It's really extraordinary. He assisted me on several occasions via numerous texts and phone calls, and he'll do the same for you. and that definitely reduces potential stress and aggravation. At the start of this video, I asked if using Wally tools make the process easier and more precise with less stress and aggravation. Well, it is much more precise for sure than the way I used to do it. Easier? No, absolutely not easier. Easy was the way I used to do it in comparison. Wally tools make it a more thorough and lengthy process, so you'll need to set aside a bit of extra time. But your efforts will be rewarded with improved vinyl playback. In my opinion, Wally tools are for individuals who want to maximize their experience in record and turntable ownership. There certainly is a degree of peace of mind and satisfaction after using Wally tools and feeling confident that your tone arming cartridge have been optimized. You can't put a price tag on that. But I can't finish this video without mentioning any caveats or downsides. And there is one caveat that affects many of us, and that's our eyesight, especially as we get older. Cantilevers and diamond styli are minute. And as I said in the beginning, you need good lighting, a flashlight, and the Wally loop comes in handy. I'm very nearsighted, and even I successfully managed the process. I found the instruction manuals thorough and helpful, but they are a bit dense information-wise, and this is one of those products where you definitely need the manual. Now, happily, there are numerous informative and instructional Wally Tools videos on YouTube to peruse. And if you get stuck, you can always contact JR. I know a lot more now than previously about how it all works together. My world has been expanded. The Wally Tractor and Wally Skater are excellent products which I highly recommend. Please check out my Patreon for early ad-free access and some extras. Or if you just want to make a one-time donation, see the PayPal donation tip jar in the description below. And don't forget to enjoy your own devices. Later.